let me tell the story, Scott. We got to go live on YouTube first. Don't worry.
You look so great on the Instagram post too. Look like a model of marketing.
Are you hitting on him?
I think he was hitting on me, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're live on YouTube. Welcome to Funnel Hacking. Welcome to the FunnelFlow Mastermind live from Florida. Funnel Hacking Live. You notice I'm not in my dingy office. I'm in this fancy hotel suite. You can check it out. It's like super nice, right?
Dang.
Yeah, it's
Only the best for you.
Yeah, it's a love retreat here, but I'm all by myself. I got my microphone to keep me company and you guys. Anyway, first night, I'm telling Scott a story. First registration night of Funnel Hacking Live. So I make these shirts, says ask me about my offer stack. And sorry, if you see the URL there, that's the hashtag that's posted on like every freaking wall, every single wall. And I own that URL. So
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I said it in my little video. Just your wing goes on her way. So I'm there and I just want to be like in the middle of everything. Like I had to get some work done. I had to finalize this FHL 2021 funnel, but I thought like, I don't want to just go to the hotel room. Like I just want to like post up and work there and see what happens. Right. So that's what I did after I got registered. I met a few people, gave out a few t-shirts. I did a little bit of a fanboy thing. I found like this famous internet marketer. I said, hey, how are you? And I shook his hand. I gave him a t-shirt. But anyway, so I'm posting it up and I finished the funnel and I hear this guy off in the distance, like talking loud. And I'm kind of like, this guy's kind of annoying. Like what he's like, But then I thought, you know what? I need to meet that guy because he's obviously a connector of people. And, you know, he's like a super spreader at this event. If I can get him wearing this shirt, it's like, you know, he's a super spreader. He's going to tell everyone about this shirt. Right. So I went, okay, Caleb, get over yourself. And I was packing up and he was still out there, you know, talking with everybody. And granted, there's not many people in the hall at this point. It's like almost 10 o'clock Florida time. And I go over there and I say, hey, man, I hear you talking loud over here. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I said, I just had to meet you, you know, so we shake hands. I said, where are you from? He goes, oh, I'm from Boise. And I'm like, Boise, like where from ClickFunnels is? He's like, yeah. And I go, did you go to Boise because ClickFunnels is there? He's like, well, actually, you know, I've been there since 2012. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, I actually knew Russell before he was the Russell we know and love today. I'm like, oh, that's great. He's like, yeah, I knew him when he was running this boiler room sales outfit, which he references in his .com secrets books. And good morning, Patricia. And so I'm like, oh, that's great. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy personally knows Russell. He knows him from before. I'm like, okay, he definitely has to get a t-shirt, right? So he's got like some one-on-one connection with Russell. All right, that's good. All right, I'm thinking about that. And he mentioned something about waffles. And I'm like, waffles? Waffles? I go, wait, you're Russell's waffle guy? And on Russell's stories, he's always posting on like Saturday morning with the kids. He goes to this waffle shop and he gets these like over the top Belgian waffles with bacon on it and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, you're the waffle guy. I told myself when I go to Boise someday, I'm going to your freaking waffle shop. He's like, oh, that's great. And we just had this realization that I don't know. It was just, we nerded out for a minute. I go, that's awesome. And I said, you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to give you this t-shirt. And so I reached down in my bag and I go, bam. And I give him my shirt. You see that, Patty? Ask me about my offer stack. FHL2021.com. And I didn't expect anything more out of it. I didn't ask him to film a video. He's like, oh, this is great. We're going to put this on Instagram right now. And he calls over to his daughter and goes, get the phone. And I'm like, okay. And so he's like, all right, 3, 2, 1. And they film it. And you know, if you see on my Instagram page, you can see that little thing. And basically, I got to give a pitch to Russell about the t-shirt and how I want to give him a t-shirt. So someone who he follows tagged him on a post whom he personally knows, did a little pitch for my shirt. So, and he said, even better than all this, he's giving me a waffle me up t-shirt today. So anyway, I'm super excited. I'm nerding out. So just bear with me today. I don't know how helpful today will be for you. I assume you'll get something out of it. But I got some cool stickers, right? Look at that one. Do what Russell says. I think I'm going to put that one on the microphone here, my Yeti mic. So enough about me. What's been happening with you guys this week? Last week, we worked on the 10 by 10 content grid. I want to hear some updates. My plan was today, unless our conversation takes us in a totally different direction, was to continue to workshop that out, because that's something that it's kind of best done in a group, once you're getting the hang of it. And we can learn from each other on what are we going to be posting about, what are our hangups, what are our ideas, etc. So who has looked at that sheet at all this week, or had some thoughts from our last meeting?
Yeah, I must have missed the sheet. I haven't had time to watch the video, but was there a sheet in that email with the video?
Yeah, let me pull it up and I'll grab it for you.
All right, thanks.
I haven't worked on it since live last week.
Okay, well, you're all fired. Scott, what were some of your takeaways from last week? Why don't you pull up your sheet and we'll see what you got so far? Could you do that?
Mm-hmm. So my biggest takeaway from last week was the first time I pulled this up, I tried to fill out kind of straight across on one framework, pain point, desire, interest, or hook. And I tried to go straight across. And to me, that was more difficult. And then last week, when we worked on it, we went down the column here and just coming up with different frameworks, different pain points, desires, interests, hooks. I felt like that was an easier brainstorm for me. And then what I realized from that, my takeaway from last week was, because we're trying to come up with 100 posts, right? Each one of these boxes is a post. So, but what I realized is you only really need 10 ideas down the left side here, 10 main ideas. And then for me,
I dropped it in the chat, Eric. Keep it going, Scott. Sorry.
I realized that you don't necessarily have to come up with all 10 across for each one today. Like, you're ready to start, to create a blog post or a video post when you have one of these, right? It takes one idea to create a post. So anyways, I just realized that I didn't have to, like, I was taking this as too big of a chunk, and I can just like kind of use this as a dynamic working document. Whenever I need to like come up with an idea, just come here. And like, I don't have this strategy box filled in for my framework. So I if I'm needing an idea, I could come here and kind of do it on the fly. I think it's great to have, obviously, if your goal is to have a marketing calendar and have 100 posts planned in advance, but that was sort of my takeaway from last week, just like, using this on the fly.
Yeah, you can use this imperfectly to get started. And what I found in content production, I've struggled with it recently with everything going on, but in the past, when I was doing podcasting and blogging, that just focusing and sitting down and just putting something out there, it encourages you and makes you want to do it again. So really it's like working out, just getting started is the hardest part. Once you start, like, there's momentum that builds. So yeah, this is the ultimate goal, to get this whole thing filled out. But if don't let, don't prevent yourself from starting just because it's not complete. Is that kind of what you're saying, Scott?
Yeah. And I think, I think the brilliance of the 10 by 10 thing is, the idea that we got from BG a few weeks ago is, if the game changer for his business was getting 100 pieces of content and just uploading 100 days in a row. And that's an exciting idea. And this is just a really simple way to get it going. And you don't have to have the whole thing all figured out ahead of time. Just get going. I think that exercise analogy is really good. Like my favorite program I've ever done is P90X. A lot of people know about P90X, and you just basically, the idea is just plug it in, just push play on day one, and then show up for day two and keep going, and it builds momentum.
Except day one literally killed me and my abs were wrecked. So day two was less of a possibility. So hopefully this won't wreck you like P90X. So why don't we go? So we're a small group here, and just to warn you, things are going to get crazy in these coming weeks because of this t-shirt. Hopefully, I mean, I'm speaking in faith here. Why don't we go round robin and let's just let's help each other fill out one. So columns, one row. Okay, does that sound good? All right. And so Eric, if you're or just anyone, these sheets that I shared, always go to file, make a copy, and then you can edit it on your Google Drive. So who wants to go first? Jason Sorry,
or
you
Jason
paused.
can go.
Vandeford, he said nothing last week. We're not going to let him hide in the shadows any longer. So Jason, let's can you share your screen? Do you have your sheet open?
Yeah, 1 second. Just trying to, I've got two things full screened here. Hold on.
I love hotel art, and I love how it's always bolted to the wall. Like anyone
Because
would
you
want
really
to
want to
steal
take that.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Has anyone seen the old Clint Eastwood movie, The Outlaw Josie
Wales?
Yeah. I was watching that last night on Netflix. That's an awesome movie.
You know who I live with, right? Mr. Texas, of course.
What's that?
I said, you know who I live with, Mr. Texas. So, spaghetti Westerns we have to have them memorized in our house.
Is that called a spaghetti? Is that a spaghetti Western?
I think so, right? A spaghetti Western is where the producers and funding were the Italians, right? Back in like the 70s.
Yeah, and they were filmed in Italy too.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that term. It was funny, but this part I especially appreciated. So they had a carpetbagger, right? Those old time salesmen, like, I'm a carpetbagger. I'm a digital carpetbagger. Okay. And always selling something. And so Josie Wales' sidekick, he's got a bullet wound and, he's not doing too well. And this carpetbagger comes up. He's like, yes, this miracle potion, it could treat the wound and infection. And it could do all kinds of things. And then Clint Eastwood goes, and he spits his chaw all over his white suit. And he goes, how does it do with stains? and the guy just shuts up. It's awesome. Anyway, all right, Jason, thanks for pulling that open.
Going from the snake oil to the chiropractor. It's a nice segue.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. Ribcage pain, sciatica, disc pain, SJJ pain, joint cavitation. I don't know what that is.
That's the popping noise.
Oh, that's what sells, right?
Yeah.
Well, I suggest well, no, never mind. All right. So what of these would be so sorry, my brain is on fire right now. Which one of these would you like to start with?
Well, let's do it the rib cage one. So it's super common. A lot of people have it, and it's something that they go to a lot of different people for, but it doesn't really work out until they finally decide to try a chiropractor.
So what's the cause of rib cage?
It's just basically a rib that's not moving very well. So the ribs move on the spine. They have joints with the spine. In order to be able to breathe, the rib cage has to be able to expand, and that movement occurs at the level of the spine. And so if you have a joint that's not gliding like it ought to, it could be painful. Then it recruits a whole bunch of other stuff, and it gets to be really painful. And then to make kind of things a little bit more bizarre is that you can get these weird symptoms with it. Sometimes people will go to the ER for it, and they'll get a cardiac workup and told that they're fine and go home, which doesn't really help them a whole lot. Just to know that they're not dying, even though that's kind of how they feel.
Okay. So how would you synthesize that into an overview statement?
Intense back pain, or between the shoulder blades. Kind of is like with a feeling you can't take a full breath.
I'm breathing deep, just hearing this information.
That feeling that there is something that needs to be stretched. Or moved, but you, no matter what you do, I can't use the space button this one. You can't get it.
You know, Van, if I may,
Yeah.
I actually have that constantly from falling off of a horse. And my chiropractor's been slowly adjusting it. And I think if you add anxiety in there, because all those pain things create a subconscious sense of anxiety.
Oh, absolutely it does. Yeah.
From my experience with that pain, it affects sleep. Can barely lay down.
It won't let you sleep. It won't let, I mean, it's.
So let's put this, so that's the overview. Let's put some of these stories, like Patricia, Scott, your own experience with treating patients, into the backstory.
So
you want to share your story, Patricia?
Yeah, I fell off my horse. And when I hit the ground, I heard a crack.
Oof.
And I was like, and then I, got the wind knocked out of me, so I couldn't breathe for a couple minutes. So I had to lay on the ground while my horse galloped around the arena, and then decided to go back to the barn, which everybody freaked out that this riderless horse comes galloping back to the barn. But then after that, I felt torqued. And the tightness, difficulty breathing, that rib pain, but it was the anxiety came from, hearing the sound when I fell. Luckily I didn't do anything, possibly a small compression fracture, but it was the ongoing, difficulty breathing, difficulty turning. My whole trunk was kind of locked up, and my ribs were knocked out of their, sorry, Van, for the.
No, it's fine.
Total generic, but my ribs were literally like knocked out of alignment with my spine. And yeah, and it took literally like a couple of months of adjustments to get me back, like where I could sleep again. And
That's
pretty
I've seen
typical.
people, it can happen from a number of different things, and I've seen it happen from stuff like that, like trauma, to just postural stuff. And the crazy, so
sit up straight. All right, can you synthesize that? And
oh, and actually one more thing, just really quick, is that pain led me to compensating postural changes as you know, Caleb twigged me to, that actually made it worse. I started slouching, I started compensating, and then I got even more pain and more discomfort in different areas of my body. Like I went to my hip and my sciatic. So it's all quiet now.
Okay, so be really broad with this, really crude. I mean, with the language, fell off horse. The wrong kind. Wind knocked out. Not severely injured. Would not let sleep. Months of difficulty, including anxiety regarding pain.
Caleb, this kind of brings up like another column for the 10 by 10, which is just like case studies.
I think that's don't we go all the way to the right? Isn't there case studies on there?
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
So case studies would be like after treatment. So, this is a patient he had before working through his strategy, his tactics to treat it. And the case studies, it would be the after.
Okay.
All right. So you could say, this is my patient Patty. Let's just pretend that you're his patient. My patient Patty fell off a horse, heard a crack, got the wind knocked out of her, not severely injured, a lot of pain. Have you had trauma where, something happened and then just things wasn't quite right? It hurt when you breathed, right? Well, over the next few posts, I'm going to be talking about how we assess and address that as chiropractors. So if you have weird rib or back pain from maybe an old trauma and you're kind of compensating with your posture, all right, be sure to follow me down below. And over the next few posts, we're going to be talking about how we address that. All right. And you can give them a quick tip right then. If you're struggling with that right now, use heat, use ice, and also make sure you use a lumbar support so you're not slouching in your posture. Okay. Thanks. Follow Jason Vanderford, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. So, like I said, these are just little snippets, little clips that people are scrolling as they sit on the toilet, and you're slowly building trust. You're slowly building the story of this, of your frameworks. So what's the strategy? How do you address ribcage pain? Maybe like, how do you identify that this is the problem?
Well, the first we do is we rule out neck and or low back pain, and kind of localize the area that hurts, and then we adjust it. Some ancillary stuff. Some support, I'll see. So that's the broad stroke of it.
So if we were to put that into a step-by-step, number one, you rule out neck pain, rule out low back pain.
And then
number three, you localize the area that hurts.
Yeah.
And then how long would it take, Patty, how long did it take worth of treatment to start to get relief with your rib pain?
I got relief, or I got change. I felt more freed up after the first treatment, but then I needed ice and some heat to, get down the inflammation. My chiropractor recommends ice, and I really hate ice. So sorry, Van. I know I'm the typical, no, I'm not, we're going to ice. The relief came in, mobility right away. And then, it slowly locks up again. You got to go back in, get another adjustment, mobility, until it finally, each treatment stacks on top of the last one to get me back. So I felt relief right away, and just had to go back as the discomfort, tried to return at lesser levels.
Yeah, for traumas like that, it takes a while, but like if it's something that's not traumatic, it responds faster than that.
Yeah, like it just goes out just on it's almost like on a scheduled basis.
Mhm.
And when he feels it coming, he goes in and gets that one adjustment, and bam, he heads it off at the pass, to stay with the spaghetti Western analogies.
Okay, so let's power through a few tactics. So like, what's one tactic you use?
I'm gonna adjust it. Chiropractic adjustment.
You're gonna move that meat, move the bone. And it'd be really cool. It'd be like next level stuff if you could film yourself like this post. It's like, hey, my patient Caleb, he's got rib pain. He's a nurse. Here's we ruled out neck and low back pain. We isolated that it's a rib pain. I'm gonna adjust it. Snap, crackle, pop, bam. You're suffering from rib pain. Send me a message. Then you got to post.
We love that one, Patty. Avoid heat.
What about avoid slouching?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
If you're struggling with rib pain, you fell off your horse and you haven't gotten back up on it yet again, metaphorically speaking, don't slouch. It's going to hurt you. Use a lumbar support. I love this hat, but it makes my head itch.
How about one of the things that helped me at home for like a home therapy, because I'm also an acupuncturist and a Goscue graduate, is like just laying flat on the floor to remind my body what flat posture is like.
Yeah.
Or doing that stand on the corner of the door jamb, line your spine up, but just to,
Yeah.
We forget and compensate when we hurt.
I mean, like there's arguments to be made with heat and stuff and ice. It's just that like the way most home applications of heat don't really get it done, unlike the therapeutic stuff that's available in the office and stuff.
Because if it's acute, you don't want heat, right?
Yeah. I mean, I recognize that the concepts between Western and Eastern healing are sometimes at odds. So, and there's merits to both. And then we'll just like we'll just use Patty's 4-story.
Also, I think what helped me was I went into my chiropractor that day. Like
Oh,
I got
yeah.
in my car on the way
Yeah.
home and I went straight to his office and, because he always tells me, if you hurt yourself, call me, I'll fit you in.
Yeah.
So.
See, in my experience with that is like this happened to me before I was getting chiropractic care. And I like when I got into school, this thing had become so chronic. I was getting this adjusted, and this is no joke, like 4 times a day, several days a week, and it just kept coming back. So everything had adapted to being so short that even the adjustment wouldn't allow it to stick. So it wasn't until something like we moved on to like tactic 2 that it actually got some traction on that. So
Well, cool. Well, was this helpful for you, Jason? Getting
Yeah.
started with this?
yeah, I meant to get on this last week and I failed.
This is a workshop style mastermind. There is enough knowledge in the world, right? The goal of this mastermind is not just to pump you full of more unactionable knowledge, it's to actually put your hand to the paper, so to speak, fingers to the keyboard, and get you started. And then on Mondays, that's where the accountability comes in, like, pushing each other forward, where are the roadblocks. So there's a huge value in just showing up and just doing a little bit of work, and that inspires you to go on to the next step.
Mhm.
So who wants to go next? King, you've been quiet today. I don't like that. It makes me nervous. You're a man who has a lot to say.
Yeah, it's because so I actually forgot. So I feel bad because I normally do my homework. I was kind of hoping that you guys could help me with they just downgraded my credit for the first time. And I essentially, I'm supposed to have a program all finished. So my problem is that I always plan so far long term. Like I planned my whole target resume in 1999 when I was in university. Okay, I literally wrote my whole career plan that I would be president of Penn's Power of Free Shares Incorporated, and it gives everything away for free. It's like free is literally my middle name, right? Literally, right? So I own the largest collection of free websites in the world. So this is my problem. Now I actually have to make money, and it's funny, but this is the last thing that I actually do. Like I actually have a whole book course. So I was just managing Vignesh, and I'm like, I did all of these things. Like I've given everything away. And like Caleb helped me a lot when he just said, like, can I just say how you just helped me so much by when I told you about the not gonna do it list, Caleb?
Yeah.
Because it's off topic, but like I have hundreds of videos. Like I have my valedictory address from 1996. It's better than Bill Gates' commencement speech. I'm not joking, right? And the thing is that it doesn't matter. He's making money, right? And so the thing is, I just told him one thing: get his child to do a not going to do it list. It's just a list. It says not going to do it at the top. It has lines, and you write down all the stuff you're not going to do. You guys could do it, right? If you don't want to get drunk, write down you're not going to get drunk, right? And I had on my not going to do it list. I'm not going to do it, the baby making thing until marriage. I'm not going to get drunk. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not, right? And I wrote down mine example, and then, because I was a Christian since I was 9, and I was obedient in that sense. In other ways, I wasn't. But the thing is that when I told him that, he said, "Oh, that's good. I should put that on a thing." So I made a PDF of it, but I'm like, it's in my first chapter that's already free. I'm like, I don't get it, because that's the thing. My thing just says, my funnel just says, download the first chapter. And I know I'm smart. So like what? I got 100% in grade 10 math. So I'm like, what? But I get it, because he didn't know that was in the first chapter. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm giving people 20 pages, and I just told him about 1 page. And he's like, "Oh, that's good. Put that in a." I'm like, I'm already giving that away. I gave that away to 40 people. They're on my list and they won't buy. So I have to make something urgency. So I'm just telling this guy that works for me in Nigeria, take something and say, like, I already say you got 3 benefits to join the Penn's Power Club, right? You get the 5 steps to freedom. You get the 7 principles of what it means, 7 scholarships and the 7 steps to entrepreneurship millions. I do those teachings. They're all over the internet in the most largest collection of free websites in the world. But there's somebody told me today in LinkedIn, there's no urgency. So it seems like I'll be free forever. Free Shares Incorporated literally is free forever. Penn's Power Club is the thing that's not. That's what I'm charging for. And it's a lot without an example, but I literally am getting my credit downgraded. And I've been giving away stuff since 1988 when I wrote my first book. So like the thing is, my thing is too complicated. And that's what I'm like, it's just too complicated. So now I'm trying to just do something simple, urgent, call to action, where I just tell people either the first 5 people get the drop, like download, or the first 5 people or something, because I'm just trying to create some urgency, and I can send out an email to my list and say the first 5 people get an hour booking free, or the first 5 people get my book free, or the first 5 people. I think the first 5 people that buy my book get an hour consulting free, because I don't give an hour free, I give half an hour free. But I will give the first 5 people that book either get an hour free, or the first 5 people that buy my book get an hour free. I think maybe that the first 5 people to buy my book get an hour free. I've got 240 people on my list, and I haven't sold one book. And I need to eat. I need to pay Vignesh. And the thing is, I'm like, I already, like every single thing I hear, the 100 books I've read, people teach on, I'm like, that's in my book. I'm like, that's in my book. I read Russell Brunson's 3 books. I'm like, that's in my book, right? Every single preacher, like Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, all that's in my book. Nobody will buy it. And the thing is, my things are bouncing. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
All right, so
I got.
let me cut you off, King. Sorry.
Yeah.
I sent your urgency because it's real, right? So how I could, let's talk through this, and then just tying it into the 10. So let's talk through this a little bit, and then I want to tie it to the 10 by 10 content creation, because you're a good example of someone who's been prolific online, but it hasn't worked out for you yet. Would you agree? You muted yourself.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So, because really this is what King is struggling with. He's created a whole bunch of content, but it's not converting into anything. Right. So this is what we want to avoid. And this is what we're going to help King work through. It's okay. And this is a common concern that, okay, I'm going to post all this stuff online. I'm going to do the LinkedIn, the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, and it's not going to turn into anything. Okay. So fuzzy targets don't get hit. When I see thinkfreely.net, and this is what I was telling him yesterday, it's kind of fuzzy. There's a lot going on, right? There's just, I know I could sit here and read this line by line and decode it, but all this is a squeeze page. Like all he wants is my email, right? And there's a ton of good stuff on here, but there's too much going on, right? So what I suggested yesterday is let's simplify your page into just one element.
Yeah, and I have that PDF.
Okay, so this is a squeeze page that Scott and I did. We get about a 40 to 50% conversion rate on this page. Okay, and this Seek First to Understand little mini course is part of a larger, more expansive course that Scott sold for varying prices, but I think it's for sale for like $249 on his website or something like that. Okay. So basically it's one element of his bigger thing. And it's focused, right? So it's just focused on communication. It's just focused on one result, which is to stop arguing, to decrease arguing. And when we ran Facebook ads to this, we were getting about 40 to 50% conversion rate, right? So because it's super
real quick. I think another key word is it's repackaged. It's not exactly packaged the same way. Same exact content, but we put it on a video.
the course?
Yeah, so I'm just adding to what you were saying. So it is it's basically a chapter of a bigger book, but instead of just copy and pasting the chapter, we took the content and we recorded it on video. So it's a little different, it's repackaged.
Yeah. So the idea here is we're just pulling out a hook, right? So it's just one hook from that, from his bigger book, from the bigger course. What's something that people are struggling with? It's a pain point, and that is arguing in marriage, right? We've all been there, and this little mini course helps the prospect work through that. It delivers a result, and then we're bringing them into a webinar where he can sell the whole thing, right? So even though, so we're back to your funnel now. Do you guys see that on the page? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay. So instead of just, I guess the example would be here. And what's the name of your full course, Scott? It's the Level Up Your Marriage course.
Yep.
Okay. So instead of on this page saying, download chapter 1 of the Level Up Your Marriage course, you're going to get all this stuff, right? And it's part of all this bigger thing. We're saying, are you struggling with communication? Right? We're not even talking about the course. We're not even talking about all that stuff. We're only talking about one hook, one pain point, and delivering a result. We want to capture the email so we can nurture them, so we can get them in their flywheel, right? And this can be as simple as, you can automate this, but even right now, having a squeeze page where you capture their phone number and then you call them and follow up and say, hey, what'd you think of that? Are you struggling with any of these other things, which are part of your other course? And like, well, special urgency pricing, I have this full course, normally it's 97, I'll give it to you for 79 or whatever how you sell it on the back end, we can adjust that. But instead of just saying chapter 1, you pull out a hook and say, are you struggling with this pain point, right? It keeps it focused. And then all your social media content is focused on this one thing. Instead of, I've been looking at your social media, like you talk about everything all at once, right? Because you've done so many things, you've been so prolific, and you're gifted in many ways. And that's not bad, but people don't know where to go with that, right? So that's why we have to focus our message, focus our goal, and I think you're going to start to see results, right? So if you look at my Instagram, I've been really focused on this lately. So for the first time in a while, I've been trying to practice what I preach. And it's difficult. I get it. Let me log in here. Good grief. Funnel. Okay, so my goal this week in my publishing, in my networking, is I want to position myself. There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of consultants, there's a lot of guys who do what I do. So I don't want to just be in that same pack. So I'm differentiating myself a little bit, and I'm saying I'm a mastermind facilitator. It's a slightly different hook. So I'm coming at I know things, but my gift, I don't know what I was saying there. My gifting is I'm able to connect people. Right? I'm able to bring people together around a common purpose, right? And I think there's value in that. In this conference, there's a lot of things going on and people want to get connected. And so my goal is to connect people together on calls like this, in a mastermind like this, and let's share the best stuff, right? So instead of kind of a broad generalist bio, I changed it to a little bit. I said, I'm a marketing mastermind facilitator. Get your biggest marketing problem solved. Register for the Recap Mastermind event. So I focused my attention, and it's not always going to be like this, but right now, this is what I'm focused on this moment, this campaign. And same thing for you, King. Okay, if your goal is to sell your book course, or if your goal is to help the Christian authors, pick one, but then get super focused. So everything in your online world points to this one thing. You're only going to be talking about this one thing. You're not going to talk about your 1996 valedictory address. You're only going to be talking about your do not do it list, right? And then you see it yeah.
So to use some other of your terminology, it's also painkiller, right? It's like you have everything we need for our marketing, but you're killing the one pain of I just need some help. I need some camaraderie. I need some accountability. I need a community with the map. Your one thing you're offers the solution to the one pain that we're most feeling. Like the very first thing we feel is a sense of relief. There's other people going through what I'm going through, and we're surrounded by each other now, and we can get on a chat group and help each other out. So I think that's another key element to what you're saying.
Yeah. And that I'm going to put that in my bio now because I have a few more characters left. So thank you. Join the community, get connected with other entrepreneurs, right? My point is my social media, it's all pointing to this one thing, this one call to action, right? So when you simplify your squeeze page to your do not do it list, which is super powerful, there's so many parents who do not want to see their kids go down a certain pathway, but a lot of times it just starts with the decision. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to go down that path, right? Like,
And writing it down psychologically, signing their name at the bottom. That's it.
Super
And
powerful.
I bet you nobody did that. If somebody did that, then, congratulations, work with me. But I don't think anybody did that as a kid. Write it down. That list all the things you're not going to do and sign it at the bottom. No.
If you say that message over and over and over and over again in different ways, and like, hey, parents, do you not want your kids to smoke? Parents will be scrolling, they'll be like, oh, dang, I don't want my kids to smoke. Right. Whatever. Hey, and then maybe tie it to a dream.
Get drunk, have kids at 16. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I think I've made my point. I think I've made my point clear.
For sure. I think,
Focus.
But what I did,
Yeah.
I think I need to focus on the adults because honestly, Caleb, like the last thing I did was work with business people, and why I don't want to focus on the kids is because it's a sell through, and I have authors on my list. Those are the ones that want to make money, and I think that's why I want to focus on. Send out an email and be something like the first 5 people that need help getting their book done or change it into a course, get 1 hour free or something like that. And they can book in my calendar, or they email me or something. Like, I think that if I already have the knowledge, when I get somebody in an hour, right, then they're like, oh, you can help me with this, you can help me with that. And they understand I can help them solve problems. So I want to focus on the money problem. They want to make money, and just send an email to my list, the first 5 people or something. So
I would invite them to a group thing. First of all, you're going to multiply your time. 2, if you're positioning yourself as a coach, you don't want to just give away one-on-one access. You want to sell one-on-one access.
Okay.
This is a small group now, but I anticipate in the future it's going to grow, right? And I'm not going to be able to put everyone on the screen, Tony Robbins style. So I'm going to upsell one-on-one access to me. Okay.
Right.
When I give an offer and it's like, only 10 people I can take through this cohort and we're going to do this awesome thing. When there's a couple hundred people on the Zoom call, there's power in that. But if I say, hey, if you're interested, book a call with me, right? There's no urgency there. Right. And what's going to happen is they're going to get you on that one-on-one call and they're going to pump you for information. And then they're going to start to take action on that or not, but it's going to relieve that pain point and they're going to think they're making progress.
And I give them so much, they'll have so much homework that it'll take them a while to get it done. I had somebody like that yesterday.
Yeah.
I give so much. So then they're like, oh, you planned my whole life. And now I have all this homework because I didn't do all that stuff.
So that's why I think for you, it's especially important to have a very tight 10 or 15 minute presentation, not a teach, where you talk about your strategy, the outcomes, some of the case studies, classic perfect webinar style.
Okay, so I just have to do that because I'm just gonna let things bounce and finish that. It's gonna take me about a few days That's
So
okay.
focus on that.
Yeah.
Focus on that, because that's where you can make your $1,000 to $3,000 offer.
It's just
right?
a little bit hard when you understand, I was working for Bill Gates in 98 and I still have to, so I'm like, I've been waiting to marriage still, like, so now
So
I'm like, I want
focus.
to
Your
I'll keep
homework.
waiting.
Your homework.
I can
is
wait
to,
longer. Yeah.
Your
It's
homework is
okay.
to focus on this mini webinar, and you invite people to that. In all your prolificness online, you invite them to that. Okay.
Okay,
So-
that's good. I'm good. Thank you for the time. I'll just continue working on the webinar because I have my perfect webinar to fill out. So
Don't
Caleb,
quit
it's up.
talking and start doing it.
Okay, cool.
We appreciate you, King. All right. So what are takeaways from today? I gotta go clean up this mustache because I'm eating Russell today. Eric, any takeaways today, or are you just listening? It's okay, either one.
I'm just I'm just listening, absorbing everything and all that. So yeah, thank you. I enjoy being here. Jason, it's good to see your face, King.
Thanks. I voted. I feel good because I used
You groomed it? It looks good.
Patty, what was your takeaway?
I'm just slowly shifting my mindset to be able to work on the pain points and getting kind of out of being me and understanding the person I'm talking to, which has been like, and what I realize is that, you know, my potential clients really just want more information because they're a little bit, you know, they have a little bit of analysis paralysis. And so that's what prompted me using this, the 10 by 10 led me to do that little weekly market update that I sent you guys yesterday. And honestly, I feel like that's a huge breakthrough for me. But it all started with this 10 by 10, you know, because in all these pain points, you know, the biggest, the big pain point that leads to all of my pain points are people don't feel informed and overwhelmed. So it was great. This has been awesome. I feel like I'm really getting some great clarity.
Awesome. What would you say to someone who's thinking about joining the mastermind, but you know, they're thinking maybe $100 a month is not, like, I don't want to pay another bill?
Well, I've actually already, my my real estate coach, I've told her about you and sent your information over because she has other coaching clients as well. And I basically told her, this is my key to having the most effective online presence. And it takes help to put it all together, because I got to focus on what I'm good at and have somebody else focus on what they're good at, which is building the funnel, etc.
Mhm.
So what I would tell someone is, I guess you can struggle with it on your own for the next 6 months or a year, you know, or you can pony up $100 a month and start making money on your ideas and your concepts right away. You know, stop fucking around, pardon my French.
Oh.
That's what I would say to them.
I love it. And it's $100, right? Like, how often do we blow $100? Like, you go to sushi and it's $90 for nothing.
I get my nails done twice a month. That's my $100. So, you know.
Okay. And the point of the $100 is, yeah, I gotta eat. I want to make money. But like, when you pay $100, like, your attention shifts a little bit, right?
Well, and honestly, yeah, you can't, this is worth, you know, don't take this out on us, Caleb, but this is actually worth more than that.
Oh.
And I have other coaches with masterminds where they charge way more than this, like $400 or $500 a month. And you know, and they're after me all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but I've sampled your mastermind and there's no boots on the ground actually doing stuff. There's all the, oh, feel good, you know, feel good. And it's like, no, freaking do something.
That's my
Right?
next t-shirt. Freaking do something.
Freaking do something.
Thanks, Patty. We're so glad to have you here. Any other takeaways, Vanderford, Scott?
Just for me, it's just helpful to kind of get started on some of those pain points and just kind of working through one or two of them, and just that's just helpful.
Awesome. Scott?
With with King's example today, I was reminded about like, so there's that is it a Russell thing that people pay more and pay again for the same material that's been repackaged? And even if you have all of your content, everything you're ever going to teach anybody is already out there for free. If you just package it and organize it, they'll pay for it, 97, 157, whatever, as
All
long
the
as it ends with a
sevens.
7. But I mean, yeah, I mean, to me, that was a huge takeaway, just hearing King's example. Like, don't even give it those 5 calls for free, charge for them. And even if it's the same information, if you're putting it in a more, organized, concise, and I don't have to, you're saving me the time of going out there and watching all of your video content to try and figure out what I need. Just sell me what I need in a package and I'll pay for it.
People pay Tony Robbins $5,000 at the Date with Destiny thing for the same stuff you could buy his on a CD for $100.
You can find it on YouTube.
And it hasn't changed. I bought his CDs 20 years ago. They're still on my shelf, the same like 12 CDs, and they're amazing. And I have a friend who paid a $10,000 lifetime membership to go to his trainings. And it's the same store. It's the same thing. And I knew him when he had gone bankrupt twice. We were doing his financing for him back in like 1986.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's just, all he really keeps exemplifying is just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward.
And
the story is true and he's amazing, but it's the same thing as it was back in 1986.
so let's not
I think
reinvent
the
it.
benefits of having a coach and a group are just like, I know because I have it written down, but honestly, I can say that I have had so many people pitch me because I've been advertising that I was looking for a coach, and Caleb was the first one that said, pull out the not going to do it list out of everybody that, like, so 200 people on my list, right? And nobody, and some of them are coaches. And I had somebody that was in Russell Brunson's inner circle, and she had the whole 1 hour meeting with me. And she said she paid $50,000 for Russell Brunson's personal coaching. And I believe her, right? And she told me, and she said she tried to sell me on $6,000. And I'm like, I know I could sell my car, but my credit's maxed at 75,000, and I'm not going to do it. And she tried to do the thing. You can get that, the same Robert Kiyosaki, how can I afford it and all that stuff. And I'm like, look, and then I just chose to come in this, and I already got help that, she would have given it to me if I gave her $6,000. But
well, I paid $100 and I bought his book. So we're kind of on the same level because it's the same stuff. What Russell talks about in person is the same stuff in his books. What he talks about on YouTube is the same stuff he tells his inner circle. He just looks you in the eye and gives, tells it to you personally, and you feel that warm fuzzy, which I'm going to experience today because I'm going to meet him. I hope.
If you could get a picture, you could market it because people think it's a big deal. I met a guy, I was working at Tim Hortons yesterday, and because I went to go to my old high school, and then I realized there was a COVID side and I couldn't go in because they couldn't read my email. But anyway, they couldn't open my email. But the guy said that I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, well, do you have a picture with Warren Buffett?" And I said, "No." So people think that's a big deal, right? I don't care. I don't care.
I know.
Right? Like, no, I didn't take a picture with Bill Gates when he came and talked to us. I don't care.
We are out of time. I love you, King. I love you guys. Follow me on Instagram for all my juicy tidbits. And if you're not subscribed to Caleb Christensen's YouTube channel, I will be going live on that. Hopefully with some impromptu roundtable masterminds with this giant mic. I'm just going to post up in the corner and start inviting people over.